You're not. And we could-
Like if you want to study, because you run from the songs and something.
All we're gonna do is just. Don't scare them. And folders and coming from the street. Don't just had a chosen. Let's see. And this is and let's see that he's got it, just pass it on. What was that? Yeah, should be. You're needed environment. It's one of the sure. Oh.
Measure would be,
There you go. Yes, but so the one, this is so we want to conversation when I asked it on her, yeah. Just said. So they were.
Meeting to council, call order. Approved agenda. Approved agenda. Aye.
Second. Hi. Hi.
Approved consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Aye. Aye.
New business, discuss and vote on proposal of root cutting of the manhole. I haven't had a chance to look at the photos yet. We probably should, what do you think we should do? We should study one first before.
And one quote.
Well, that's what I'm getting around to.
Because at this point, it's through Bolton and Mink, and we have let them handle it with their people. We kind of said, tell us what the next step is.
And, you know, on this email that we got from this James Letty, project manager, sorry.
Okay.
It says there's discrepancy between the total they have in their proposal and the total. I think probably don't we need to get that discrepancy figured out before?
Jump.
What? So I'm James Lighting with Bolton. We're working with you guys on the wastewater project, me specifically with the I&I study, infiltration and inflow study, which we did the sanitary sewer televising and cleaning to get everything looked at so we can study it and figure out what we need to do for improvements. This is coming from these segments that are in this proposal are segments where they could not get the camera all the way through the line. They came from one direction, came into a root ball, couldn't go any farther, went to the other end, got so far, got to a root ball they could not get through. And so what this is to clean those sections up so that we can come back and finish televising all of those lines and then have as much of the city televised as possible. There's a few other lines that we can't because of scaling, but that's a different equipment and system than what they use for the root cutting. So this is to get those segments cleaned up. And the discrepancy was, I think the original, I think what I had sent you was the 4,819 feet at $1.65.
Yeah.
So that discrepancy is just the total footage we thought on these segments compared to what they're saying. It's just an estimate of what we had from a mapping layout. So, I mean, there was no hard numbers. We've since shot manholes that we can so we can get them nailed down a little tighter now. But that was just trying to get you a dollar estimate of what we thought expected the cost to be for these segments.
So the 10.6 is not for every root ball that's out there. The 10.6 is just for the however many places that you cannot even get through to filter it.
Right. On the map that I had sent with that, there was segments that were highlighted. Those were the ones that they could not get all the way through those sections. There's actually 15 other segments in the system where there is roots that they couldn't get through with the camera, but they could come up to it on one side, and then when they went to the other end, they got all the way up to that same root. So there's roots in there, but they're not so bad that they couldn't see the whole pipe. So there's other places that need root cutting, but they're not as bad as these. So it's something that can be taken care of on the next steps when you move into more of a improvement project or a lining project or whatever at that.
And so the 10-6 is strictly for the 15 places on the map?
No, the 10-6 is for the segments.
Yes, I know, that's correct.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, there's 15 other segments that they had to do what they call a reversal, which is set up on one end and then set up on the other one and camp from all directions. But they were able to, on those 15 segments, they were able to get to the same.
Okay.
These segments that are highlighted, they only got so far in from one side and so far in from the other, so there's a gap in between. We can't see, we haven't seen the pipe to know what's there, or if there's any issues. So we're trying to get those cleaned up so that we can see that, to make sure that we're not missing any broken pipes or bad services or anything.
You see, there about this much clearance, it didn't have little water going underneath that wall.
Yeah, and some of them, you could see there was a hole about this big at the bottom
Yeah.
of the root ball, and that's where their jetter went through. And that was to clean that up, but that was all, otherwise it was a solid mass, and it was heavy enough that their camera couldn't push through. And they're afraid if they push it through, they'll try to pull it back, it won't come through.
Didn't you say though, if you got your camera stuck in there, or if you get to do this other stuff, if you get your equipment stuck in there, we're gonna have to pay to have it dug out, we over as a town?
Yeah, that was our subcontractor, CIT, that did this work. If their camera got stuck, the city would have had to pay to dig
That
that.
doesn't apply to this new stuff if we were to go with you, right? Say you're in there with your root ball equipment, and you get it in there, and you can't get it out.
Well, just understand, I don't work for the company that does that work. I'm with the engineering firm,
Okay,
but they're our subcontractor. On this contract, what we're proposing, or what they have here for this proposal, is a contract between the city and Central Iowa Television for the sewer cutting. Now, since they're doing the sewer cutting, or the root cutting, they should not have to get anything stuck because they're cutting the roots out of the way. So there shouldn't be any issue with having to get stuck on roots and then having to dig it up.
And so on this, this is not going to, the loan that we're having to take out for the sewer thing, will this be billed under that, or you guys will send us the bill separate and we are supposed to pay that?
No, this is separate because this is actual maintenance and work on the sewer system, not something associated with the planning and design. So the original sewer televising and cleaning is under that planning and design loan that you guys have got with SRF. This would be separate. This would be more general funds or sewer maintenance funds or something along that lines to address these issues, because this root cutting is beyond the scope of what we had in that original televising and cleaning contract.
So typically, how often should you go in and clean out roots so that we don't get in this mess again?
It varies. A lot of communities, I think you guys were doing some of that with regular cleaning, splitting it up into several, 4 or 5 sections of town and doing one every year and rotating around. It's just, the roots are a never ending issue. But I think there's been some areas where maybe you guys couldn't get to or something, or your jetter was going through those root balls and not cutting them out.
We never did finish our program that we'd set up with the DNR. We'd only got 3 of the sections done until we decided to go your way.
Yeah, so I think there's areas that haven't had anything done, and that's why some of that is showing up. But it's one of those that if you do regular maintenance like that, you can help keep them down, but roots will keep coming in and keep growing, basically. There's a good source of water for them and plenty of nutrients, so.
Good water.
Yeah, that's where they like to be, so that's.
So now, are all sewers, are they the concrete type of pipe?
They're vitrified clay pipe, so they're a hard clay tile.
Okay, so if you would, can you go to a plastic pipe, a PVC or something like that?
Yeah, you can replace them with PVC.
Then you will never have that root problem again.
You should not, because the joints are gasketed on those, and so you don't But that's, I mean, you're talking a very significant cost
Okay,
to replace all of PVC. Yep. There's other options, and that's part of what we'll be doing here is we're taking what they've sent us for, I think Wendy said she got the 2 big 3-ring binders full of every line segment that they televised and all the videos and all their reports for each section. We're going through that. We're going to develop basically what we feel are the issues, make recommendations on how to address those issues, and then put together rough cost estimates for doing the different things, whether that's spot repairs for bad pipe sections, if there's a pipe that's broke or something and you need to spot repair it, or sewer services that are not connected right so that they're a source of infiltration, those types of things. And, some of the recommendations will be the spot repairs or potentially going in and doing a lining on, on pipes where you can put a felt liner that is resin cured inside that pipe, and that helps minimize the amount of root infiltration you get also.
So on this root cutting deal, with the city of Grand Junction, we deal directly with them. We don't go through you. That's,
I'll still be involved. I'll stay involved on this and make sure that we get stuff done that we need to and things like that.
that root cutting is not part of the original thing. It's
Right. It would be a separate contract with you and CIT for doing this work.
all these films and stuff, this is our property. It's all paid for, it's all our property. And can we get bids from different companies for this root cutting then, or?
You could go out and get you could go out and get quotes from other companies to do this root cutting if you wanted to. We just asked them for a quote because they were here and doing the work for the other part. So that's why we had them provide a quote.
And I'm
I
sorry.
mean, we aren't locked into just because into them for doing it. So,
No, no,
I know you don't want this company, but once we sign, if we sign with this company and if we sign with them, they can come in and get this done in how much time does this take? I know it depends on, I'm sure.
this, I would suspect a couple, 3 days that they would have it done.
Okay.
It wouldn't take very long to do it.
Okay.
A week at the most. The other part of it would be that all the manholes for these sections would have to be accessible again. So if they've been filled in from our previous work, they'd have to be opened up again so that they could get access to the manhole lids and open up on both ends for those sections.
the next time,
Yeah,
we're getting risers all made for all these. It's done, some of them are done, and most of them aren't.
And that'll probably be something that we'll recommend doing because a lot of the manholes in town have open pick manholes or open pick lids, so they have open holes. And that's a source of infiltration into your system. If the water gets high enough, it can get into that. So we would be recommending, that you probably change those castings out to a solid lid with a gasketed top, and that type of thing. So that'll be in that report that we finish with for our recommendations.
and so because I was hoping that if this was gonna be able to be billed through the company, through this whole loan thing, that it would maybe be better to just go with this, stay with this company, but this is gonna be billed to us separate, so it's still coming out of the.
Yeah.
So,
Right,
Yeah.
yeah,
My understanding is because this is actual maintenance or work on the line and not just doing stuff for planning, that we can't.
okay.
well, we needed that part cleared up.
But we have to get this done, whether it's whoever does it. I mean, it's not like we can skip this part of it because it's a stop in production of the whole project, so.
Yeah, I mean, we can continue with our report and get it, we just wouldn't have these segments included because for the areas that are not.
That just seems silly to not continue with this part of it, so we can just all.
But I think we need another bid.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking.
Okay, and I can help you with that. I can call there's MVP is Midwest Back Professionals. I think they do that type of stuff too. So we can ask for a quote from them. Part of what we have here is this company would do the root cutting, and after the root cutting is complete, they televise those lines while they're here. So that would be done. If we have somebody else come in and cut, we either have to pay them to televise those lines and use it with our report, or have them mobilize back to televise. So there's costs.
But the televising of the lines, once we get the roots out of there, whoever does it, we're not gonna be paid for out of our loan, right?
The televising could be, yes. Yes, and that's why they're on this proposal, there's no televising. They had some previous version that had televising on there for about 1,800 feet, another $1,800. Because that's the amount of footage that they have gotten.
Sure.
I told them to take that off of this proposal because this is just for the root cutting. They do that other televising, then that would be paid through our contract with you guys for the planning and design for it. And so that would come through there. It's a little kind of multi-lane, but yeah, if you'd like to get another quote, I can definitely assist with that and we can get.
Well, we just want to make sure. I have no problems with CIT. I was here the night of the meeting. They're very nice people and,
Yep.
and all that kind of stuff, but that's a hell of a lot of money.
So in other words, they're throwing in the televising after they cut the roots. I mean, that price is included in cutting the roots, this company.
No, it's gonna be paid through the contract
That
with us.
was part of the original deal, but they couldn't get through it, so.
Yeah.
So right now, this new deal, they're gonna charge us again, televise it again.
No, because they never did it. They've never.
Oh, it's like, you know, the price of that televising,
It's $1 a foot, basically.
when who cuts the roots.
Right.
And we're not saving anything by having them come and cut the roots, because then they'll just go ahead and do it, and we're not saving any money there by having them do it right after they cut the roots.
Well, yeah, this is a proposal for root cutting and mobilization.
It might be cheaper.
Mobilization is the filming?
Mobilization is getting their crews and equipment on site.
Okay, so we're gonna have to pay for the,
So
anyway, this isn't including anything but cutting those root balls.
they would most likely, if somebody else comes in and cuts all the root balls, they have to come back and televise those lines. That televising would be done at the price we agreed on originally, but they would probably ask for another mobilization because they had to come back. They have been charging us about $1,320.
For the televising?
No, for the mobilization,
Oh,
to bring a crew here.
oh,
So on this proposal, they list two, and it's actually one for their root cutting crew and one for their televising crew. Because they have to bring all the trucks and equipment for both.
So there's gonna be two anyway.
There's two on this proposal. If somebody else does the root cutting, they're going to ask for another mobilization because they're gonna have to bring their crew back here to do the televising.
they're gonna have both here at the same time.
CIT would have both the televising and root cutting. I think anybody that will do the root cutting will have a televising crew on site also, because they want to be able to make sure that they got all this.
Okay, that's what I get to that.
Yep, they'll have, I assume anybody that does the root cutting will have a televising crew there so that they make sure that the roots are fully removed when they're done. Because that's the only way you can tell.
Do we have to go through you guys to get another bid?
Don't have to.
Okay.
This is, kind of separate. This is something that can wait until you want to do an improvement project later if you want. It's just, we can't tell you what's going on with those chunks of lines.
The thing is, Paul, you probably know some people that we don't.
Yes, absolutely.
we know some people, so
Right,
it wouldn't hurt if they'd all.
right. I just wondered if we were locked into somebody with them was my question, and we're not.
Not for this part, no.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I'm happy to get you names and numbers of companies that do it, and I'm happy to send them a map and ask for a quote. Either way, however you want to do it. If you want to do it yourself, or you want.
But we got some kind of an idea of what it's gonna cost anyway.
Yeah, I would think everybody would be kind of in that ballpark.
Yeah.
But without a second quote, we don't know. That's definitely true.
What I'd like to do, I'd like to get those risers all put in there, that way everything's set before everybody comes. Instead of having to dig them back out again, put things back, then dig it out, put the risers in.
Understand.
There'd
be a lot less of them for this proposal than for the original work, but
Yeah.
yes, there's still quite a few manholes that would
We
need
gotta
to
sit
be
down and plan it
exposed.
out, the crew here, figure out which way. That's,
Anybody
So
got?
that's a whole thing that we gotta think about, but not right now. What do we wanna do about this? Do we want him to get us another quote? What is?
Well, I like Paula's idea. Have him get us another quote, and let's get another quote on our own. Have you guys?
start with it, satisfy the public, but if we get more mistaken.
If we hold up on this and get some quotes, and let's say the weather turns bad and they can't get this done, we could wait. What is that gonna do as far as throwing us back on our schedule for the rest of the project?
I think at this point, we'll just keep moving forward with what we need to do for the reports.
Okay,
And then if the rest of the road cutting happens in a timely fashion and we can get them included back in, we can get them added in. Otherwise, if it takes longer than that, we'll just leave them out of the report and everybody will just know there's gonna be some small sections. Because there's a couple other segments up there by the tracks that they couldn't get through and we couldn't find manholes. So there's other pieces that aren't going to be in the report just because we couldn't.
and so it doesn't hold up anything with the DNR and all that for the rest of our project?
The roots that they pull out of this, that wouldn't be, we would be allowed to put that in our brush pile then if they're roots, right?
Yeah, I would assume,
Well,
I would assume that these will get, they'll have a backhaul truck there to suck them up when they get pulled out. I don't know exactly how that, how they get
because
them out.
they had a cost in there for getting rid of the roots and hauling them away. Didn't I see that in that bid somewhere for hauling stuff off?
No, in the original contract, we had anything that we got out of the sewers when they were using their backhaul truck, we ended up hauling to the lagoons. It wasn't really, I don't know, I don't think you're talking truckloads of stuff, you're talking pickup with some stuff in it, it's not a significant portion, but yeah, I think you'd be able to roll them in the brush pile, eventually they burn, if they pull them out that way. I don't know, they might come in small bits that you just don't do a whole lot of either. So it's definitely something that can be put off, and if you want to get other quotes and do that stuff, we'll just keep proceeding with our work as is right now to make sure we get that and then just work into that final number.
So again, we're gonna let him get a quote and then somebody here will get a quote. So at least by next meeting, we'll come back hopefully with 2 more quotes. I mean, is that what everybody's wanting?
Once we figure out who we're gonna go with, we gotta get on getting them risers put in there.
Well, we're talking about this part of it now, so I'm gonna make a motion
But I mean,
that we get quotes for this. And if you'll get at least 1 more, and then I don't know who's gonna get another one.
So we're tabling the vote for now.
Yeah, essentially we're tabling it because we're not gonna go forward, but we do want, some more.
I think as far as the work goes, you can work all winter long. It's just if it gets probably below 25. I think some of their equipment, they needed water and stuff like that. It starts freezing up, so they can't, but they can wait until you got a stretch where it was in the 30s.
Yeah.
So it's not that we would have to wait until April to do it.
Oh, yeah.
I think we get it done sometime this winter, but it might be hit or miss based on timing. But that being said, if you've got to dig up the manholes and it's February and everything's froze solid, that's a lot more. So that's kind of the other part.
So do we have to make a motion and vote to table it, or we just say table it?
Well, let's have you contact.
Yeah, we're gonna, okay.
I make a motion that we table this and we get more quotes and we come back in January with that information.
Seconded.
Aye.
Then that's what he's to check it. Not good enough for.
Yes, that works. And I coordinate with Wendy on, I'll let you guys, know I'm gonna send a request to so that you guys don't send it to them too. We don't both need to send them the same. So if that is it, I will.
Thank you for your time.
Appreciate all your information. Yes, thank you.
Okay, vote and approve resolution number 2023-1211-01 to approve the municipal light and water plant budget.
Okay, I have a question before we vote. If I read it right, they're gonna come up minus. So who covers the minus? Do we end up paying for that, the city, or do they pay their own?
For one, when you start that
With
over,
the budget?
not their budget, but bring them, light plant, it's part of them, but they handle that share of it.
Come back to the city and ask for that.
We don't budget them into our budget at all, so they shouldn't be able to come back.
The only time we really get involved in, if they're borrowing money, they have to use our credit rating
To do it.
to do it.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve resolution 2023-1211-01.
Seconded.
Aye.
Vote and approve application for tax abatement for Alan, Catherine Hayes, and Phil and Elizabeth Clayton. Do it one time and have them together, do it all at once.
I make a motion, we approve the application of tax abatement for both Alan and Kate and Phil Lewis.
Seconded.
Aye.
Vote and approve alcohol renewal for a 30-year.
I don't think we have any problems with them. Go ahead.
I make a motion to approve the application for alcohol renewal for the 30-yard line.
Seconded.
Aye.
Vote and approve to add Emma Halterman to the fire department.
What are you laughing for?
He looked around, he thought he was gonna have to talk.
Before, now this will make how many people that are on in the department, if you add one more, I mean,
That's why he was looking,
are you like tapped out?
So
Okay. I make the motion, we approve the Halterman to the fire department.
Seconded.
Aye.
Aye.
Discuss and vote on the estimate for the repairs that need to be done to the front end of the sewer truck. I think we've got a couple.
We got 3. We need to all pull them all out and look at them, but I want to discuss a few things with her. They're fairly close, Danielson and, Durbin. Danielson was a lower bid by $10, but you have to understand that he has in there working on all of the brakes if they need it in that quote. So if that isn't done, then it'd be about $340 less. And McAtee's is like within $97 of the other two, but it doesn't have anything to do with brakes, and neither does Durbin. So,
What do you recommend?
me,
Yeah,
I recommend the lowest bid. That'd be Danielson.
So just a minute, I wanna make sure I got this right. Danielson is doing everything that we know needs to happen.
Right.
And they're all, just a second, he's also taking a look at the brakes. And if the brakes are fine, there's no extra added, there could be,
Right.
okay?
But
So
the price is included in there. That'll be dropped $350. And he had tax down here. I guess I don't want to put that, but I told him we don't have a tax.
So then, sure, McAtee will do the work with no brakes whatsoever.
No.
Okay, and then Durbin,
No brakes on any.
right, so.
This is all. Yeah. So, I mean, if we don't need brakes, it's dropping, what'd you say, 350?
340.
340, so that's gonna drop that down to be pretty much lower than the
About
other.
$2,200, yeah.
Okay, so it's lower than everybody else, and the other two didn't include brakes, so theirs is going to be higher if we say, look at the brakes and they have to do something.
Right. And the difference in some of the parts is because some parts are strictly bought from, for some of these companies are strictly bought from Arnold's Parts. Some are strictly bought from, what's the thing out on the highway? Napa. So, and then the other one is probably the one downtown. So you get a lot of variation when you look at the prices of some of the same things on the estimates. It's like, some of them's got $50, $60, $70 difference in the
And
parts.
some of them are depending if they can get the part and where they can get it, because who knows if.
You're right, who knows? Maybe they can't get the parts at all.
well, I'll make a motion that we go with the bid from Danielson's.
I would second.
If we get the bid today,
Nate's got the business.
can they start on it right away?
It sounds like one of them could. We don't,
Danielson?
yeah. I can call them tomorrow and double check, see as soon as we can get in.
Discuss and possible vote on issue with the street lights in town.
I tell you, they're out of street lights and you have to go with the new ones and, I suggest we buy the next three. Then I suggest that you have a meeting with them and decide if they're gonna pay partly or not gonna pay partly, or if you make some kind of agreement between the two of you, or you're, however you wanna do it. I'm not gonna be, but I mean,
Is they,
the light,
well, I too had talked to Joan and she thought it'd be a good idea, like we're doing with the fire hydrants that we try to buy here.
it's up to the board down there to decide what they want to do. So,
Well, she just suggested the council,
we'll talk to her too.
you don't have to be that way with me.
Well, I'm just telling you, talk to her too, but it's not her decision.
I think that before we go any further, there needs to be a meeting with light plant people, light board, council, so we can move forward with the lights, the whatever, and whatever might need to be. I think before I decide or want to vote that, yeah, we're gonna replace 2 or 20 or 50, I think we need to know what's going on, what their thoughts are, what ours are, and how we can continue working together before any kind of vote, and that's what I feel like. I'm not saying we don't need to replace anything, I'm just saying, let's all get on the same page.
But there's no more of the old ones. But yeah, that's fine. I agree with you.
And so if we wait and get with them, and then we can do a
We're
resolution.
gonna have some lights out in the meantime, because they don't have any.
Do we know how many lights we're missing at this point?
I know there's 3 out there right now, but somebody had put up some kind of, what do you call them? They work off of the sun.
Solar light?
Yeah, there's like 2 or 3 of them out there that don't work. So that, you know, that's automatically gonna need a new.
So Ken, when you say 2 or 3 of the solar ones aren't working, like the light plant put 2 or 3 of the solar ones up?
We did, no, it had.
Those are like personal ones, or?
No, they're not personal. One of them's down at the southwest end of the park, and one of them was right across from Marilyn Lansman's old house.
So
And
who put those up?
there hadn't been a light plant, nobody.
Okay, so, okay.
I don't know if they couldn't find the power wire, they didn't want to dig for it, they wanted to go a quicker way.
Is the one at the park the one that shines on the playground stuff?
No,
Or it's
no,
out by the
no,
street?
this is on
Okay,
the southeast end of the park.
okay.
Now, the one at the playground thing is working fine.
Okay, so if we would get like 2
We
for
get 2
now,
for right now, and they're about $119 a piece.
okay,
The old ones were about, between 78 and 100, depending on if you got how do you call it, the shade.
oh,
There's already about, I don't know, 20 some of these new ones in.
I still think we need to have a meeting with
before we get any?
Kelly. I just feel like we need to have more of a meeting on what's going on. I mean, I just feel like and these lights are $119. Do we need to get bids on these lights? Do we need to get, if we decide to get the lights, are we sure they're gonna put them up? Are we gonna have to, are they gonna charge us for putting them up? I mean, I just think we need to know a little more about this.
Who's actually responsible for the lights?
That's the question.
Is it the city or is it the
That,
light plant?
the gentleman's agreement
Something
of
that
old was different than what
you
it
can
might
have a
be now.
meeting with them and then get something in writing.
Yeah.
Then you got it.
Make a resolution and
A
then,
contract.
yeah,
between
then
us or
everybody
something.
knows.
I agree.
And we've got time to do that. And then we can find out where we need to get the lights from too. Okay, so
I make a motion, we table this, situation, and then we come up with a plan to meet with us.
Second.
Hi,
So what are we gonna do, set up a meeting?
yeah, we'll have to get with them and see, and then come back once we figure it out. Present it back and get signatures and however we're gonna do it.
We'll let you know the ball on that one, Steve.
I sure will.
A lot of times when we table something, it's
Right.
lost.
Not with Wendy, she's on the ball.
So, don't know.
Okay, here's a good one. Discuss and vote on purchasing lights for the light pole outside of town that was hit and knocked down. It's up on 144, New 30.
I had checked into with the sheriff's department to see if whoever hit it, their insurance would pay for it. Jack brought us over the stuff but the one that he brought us is from 2019 and it's on the south side of the road. But this one that we're talking about is on the north side of Highway 30, right?
Northeast corner, Can you?
Yep.
So that's not the right one, and that one is a possible hit and run, maybe. So we can't even get insurance, somebody,
But they brought life light in.
yeah, so tried to see if,
It must have been an old vehicle or a semi, because it, you know, it wouldn't have run off from there.
right.
Oh, yeah.
I could, call him back and see if there's anything, if there was any other ones, but I mean, he knows what's going on there, so I should.
So is this outside the city limits? This line?
No, but we run to Dick.
Yeah.
Dale. It's in your packet.
In
Did you read that?
1970, an agreement signed.
Back when Leon Friends.
Too long.
Very, we have Boyd Sparks, Keith Ferguson, were on 1970.
And so that makes it, oh, you did, oh, yeah, that makes it,
Sign some kind of agreement. The town of Grand Junction.
DOT.
and now we're responsible for it. We have been the whole
This is
treatment.
for every.
And didn't they, Wendy has information,
So the DOT stopped in and said, to be nice to us, they will replace the pole and what else?
The light head, but we have to pay for the light head. There's a piece at the bottom that's called breakaway that they will provide to make it easier. That way, if it gets hit again, we don't have to replace the whole thing.
Okay, but they're wanting us to pay for that breakaway and then
And do we know how much that is?
the breakaway is $482 and the light is $369.
And I want to know, do other towns get stuck this way with the DOT?
Scranton has some kind of weird deal too. I don't know what. But the other thing is, I don't think our bucket truck will reach that light.
and since they're going by this contract from 1970, how do we change that? I mean, good luck for them to go, yeah,
So here's the deal, the light that's 369 and the breakaway thing is 42. That is us buying that from like the DOT people?
Correct. We would buy that from them. They would come out and since they would have a truck out there, they would install it for us.
Light and all.
Yes. Since they would already have their truck.
For the pole. Is that, they're gonna pay-
Use the same pole again.
No, the pole is damaged. They're going to get pole and stuff.
So I suppose if we said, no, we don't wanna do this, and we got our own company, then we have to pay for the pole, the lighting, the breakaway and the light, so.
He did say pay for the pole, or put it up,
No, they are paying for the pole in,
and we pay for the breakaway.
yes.
269 and 482.
Work with the light plant. Well, they probably know where the wire is.
about 8.
What does the light plant have to do with it? Do they have to hook it up once it's there?
Well,
DOT
The DOT was finding that wire out there. I showed them the pole that it come off, so they know where.
So that would strictly be a deal between us and DOT,
okay. So
right? Fair.
Yes.
But the thing is, in the future, if one of the light bulbs go bad, I'm not for sure, but I don't think that bucket truck will reach that high. They can't afford to go buy a new bucket.
Well, maybe we can
That's something, I don't know. Here's something.
talk to the DOT and maybe they would do that on the passing through. So,
Jerry, how often have you had to replace these? Have you, in there? Okay.
there used to be 4 of them.
There still is 4.
Is there?
That's one that's down. There's one on each one.
Then the other three are working.
No, he said the one on the south side is not working.
Okay, I didn't see that.
Is that too? Did he say?
I assume so.
That wasn't my guess.
So we're looking at two lights, possibly two lights and the breakaway for this.
That could just be a light bulb or the eye on the one that's, and work. It wouldn't be.
I think once they were there, kind of looking at fixing this one, they could take a look at the other one and,
Sure.
you know.
It's kind of a dangerous place to work too.
So
Did they?
I got his number and name if you want it. Couldn't find
So do we need to approve two lights if they say that we have to have two, we have to fix that other light? Do we approve it now or do we wait and say we'll tackle that in January?
Here, you know.
Right.
Right, they'll take a look at that one, I suppose.
Yeah.
While they're here.
What you might want to do is call them and see if that's the way they want to do it so that they can get the other light. So that we don't have to have a second trip or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think we got a choice.
Yeah, we're kind of between a rock and a hard spot. I mean, we have to replace it and, right? I mean,
I tell you, that DOT, they're pretty damn sharp.
Yeah, I had quite a time with them. If the council's agreeable, we'll have Wendy get a hold of them and find out.
Yes. I mean, is somebody gonna make a motion to go ahead and approve this and?
I make a motion that we go ahead and approve this DOT plan for this breakaway and light, I guess.
And the additional light if needed.
Yeah, 'cause I don't know what other choice we have with that either. I mean, if Wendy gets a hold of them and they'll take a look at it and, you know, maybe,
They'll
like
probably get to
we said, it could be the light, it could be a sensor.
That's something they probably have on hand, because they've got all sorts of things done.
It's a whatever, I mean,
The eye or the bulb.
I guess
Well, you just don't want to have to, if they're gonna nice enough to do that, maybe, you know, they wouldn't have to make two trips.
I would say Wendy can make a call and sweet talk them into who's taking a look at that, and it's something pretty basic, let's go for it.
I'll second.
Hi.
Review bids from last meeting on purchase of new tires. We've already got the tires on, okay?
I don't care, I want to review, I want it reviewed, because I want some answers from some other council members, okay? Okay, so, we voted to buy a new chainsaw from Nice, didn't get another bid. That's okay, it's a local person, I believe in supporting local businesses. Everybody voted yes, except Laura. Can you tell me why you voted no?
Yeah, I didn't think we needed to buy a big chainsaw right now.
Okay, thank you.
But Mickey, you could ask me that after the meeting, you could
I'm
ask
not
me.
done,
Okay.
So then we had a bid to put a heater in the truck. One bid, local guy, $749. I think Paula, or not Paula, did you vote for that or not?
When was it?
Bought heater, all ayes, everybody voted. Okay, fine. So then we come up to tires. Now, according to this, we got 3 estimates. I only see 2.
I did not get a written estimate on the other one. I was sitting at the Toyota dealership for about 2 days getting my van worked on. And I asked the guy at the parts thing if he'd do me a favor and tell me what those tires at Goodyear had, what they would sell them for and how much. Well, it wasn't worth getting the bid written because it was around $1,200 or $1,300. That was a Toyota dealership.
Okay, thank you.
I would say on that block heater too, I believe a couple other places were checked. Number one, we can't take big truck just anywhere to get it worked on. So you don't have a problem with going to paper then?
I think we ought to use local.
Okay.
My dad, sorry to tell everybody this again, was a plumber in town. My dad, when I was little, said, buy local every time you can. I have no problem. We need to support local businesses. So we had two bids, one from McAtee and one from Thorpe. Okay, I need to apologize to Jeff Thorpe because my math is bad. I said that I wanted to go with Thorpe, even though it was $200 more. Actually, it was $109 more.
No, it was $149 more.
Okay, $149.
And I said the 200, I was wrong. But it was 149, you all correct these figures.
Okay. We have a budget as a city of around $1 million. $149 is $149. I would like to know why that was too much money to buy local and why you voted to go with McAtee. Paul, why did you go with McAtee?
I went with McAtee because it's cheaper, and this is what I will say to you, Mickey. If you can save $149 by going out of town in your own personal life, are you going to do that? Because I certainly am.
I have a budget of $1 million.
And $1 million for the city goes like that.
Okay.
And anybody will tell you that.
And what taxes does McAtee pay, property taxes, does McAtee pay the city of Grand Junction?
Okay, here's what I know. I pay taxes in Grand Junction. Laura pays taxes in Grand Junction. All of us here pay taxes. I don't know that you do because you don't own your home, but the rest of us actually pay taxes in Grand Junction, and this is our tax money. Mickey, you know that this is not an easy job, and the rest of us are just trying to do the best job that we can. I'm not seeing you scurrying around getting anything done. And then you have the guts to attack those of us who are doing their darndest to get stuff done and do the best job they can for this town.
Okay, Paula, point taken. So in 20 years, when there is no Grand Junction, because we've gone to Jefferson to buy this and this to save $49, and people like Jeff Thorpe who own more than one piece of property, and besides, they don't even want to have their business in Grand Junction anymore, then what are you gonna do?
Well, it would be no different than the grocery store chain coming in, the big ones, and all the little ones are gone now.
I'm still gonna go to Fairway if they have something.
You don't go to Fairway, you go to Ease to buy your groceries, you told me.
No, I don't. I'm in Fairway all the time. It's none of the business.
I just want Jeff Thorpe to know, I apologize that this council does not support local businesses for $140 million.
Department reports, Mayor. We're still, stationary thing, I'm getting the right, still, been a little cool to be putting them in.
No.
The risers, we had how many made?
Three or four, three of them.
Lot to be made.
Just that we got 3 made and 3 put in.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
We made a deal with him that when he starts making them, he's gonna make them all at once, and I says, we can't afford to pay that much. Like, make 3 or 4 or 5 at a time, we'll put them in, and we'll pay them on the next bill, and do it that way, and he says, that's fine, because when I get started, I wanna keep going, which I understand.
And it might be a slower month for him right now when the weather, it might be slower, so he has more, he's got some time.
Council have anything?
I have something. I would just like to say, how come it was only me that you asked why I voted the way I did? Because the rest were-
No, I was gonna ask,
Okay.
I was gonna ask. But Kenny, why did you go with McAtee?
I went with the lowest bidder, I don't care who it would have been. I'm not gonna.
Okay, that's, Laura, same reason?
I'm going to say that I don't think it's any of your business how or why I vote the way I vote, because I vote for what I feel is best for the town. And if you want to discuss why I voted the way I do, you can meet with me after a council meeting, before a council meeting, anytime. You can come to my door, I'll come to your door, we'll have a conversation. That's
Okay,
what I'm gonna say.
so you don't want the public to
If the
understand?
public has a question, the public can come to me. I don't feel like one person on this council needs to come at me and attack
You.
Mickey.
Feel attacked.
I did find a hitch for the tractor. $250.
Save us $550 or $300, a good deal.
Thank you for that.
I got a can of paint, it was orange, so I'm gonna paint it red, so.
Thank you for finding it for us, but that was good.
Is it still council time? Are we still on? Well, Kenny, thank you so much for being on the council, and Mickey, thank you for being on the council. I appreciate, working with you guys. I just want to say happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas, not just to us, but everybody. Have a happy, safe holiday.
And we did make at the Jingle into Junction, we, fundraiser, just toward the marquee sign, and we raised a little over, $200 on that, so we're gonna be working on the marquee sign. So thank you for everybody who.
Hey,
Excuse me.
first of all, while I'm thinking of it, I had two people at Jingle in the Junction come up and tell me that they thought the community center was so much cleaner than it had been in the past. So I want to thank Wendy for scheduling, and I want to thank Marta for keeping the place clean. So thank you very much for that. I do have something else. I want to thank you, Jerry, for appointing me not once but twice. I don't know who was more crazy, you or me. It was nice to work with Jake. Jerry worked for my dad one summer. And like I said, my dad was a plumber. And everybody in town says that if anybody knows the sewers, it's Jerry. And I think it was because my dad taught him well. So, and Jake was.
I had a girl come up there once in a while.
Yeah, never moved. And Jake was a neighbor to my folks, and it was nice to work with him because when my dad got up into his 80s, Jake and Denise kept an eye out on him for us and for my sister and me, and we'd go get the mail and all that. So I appreciate it. It was nice to work with you. So my next thing I want to say is this. Was away 50 years, came back, and there were certain people, and I know everybody helps the city, but there were certain people that I really thought deserved a little recognition. And the first person is Terry Heffley. Here's a guy in 2 years has written 4 grants. 3 of them he's gotten, the 4th one we're waiting on, has gotten over 120 trees for the city at no cost to the city, which is over $36,000 based on $300. So we hand these out. Full recognition for him. Thank you very much. And the next one I want to give out to is Cherry Kersey, and I gotta let her go because her show's gonna start in a couple minutes. And this is to organize the firemen's appreciation meal that she does every year. She said she won't do it anymore, but I think maybe we can talk her into it. And then the next person who's not here, I want to give recognition to is Rick Madison. I call him my jack of all trades guy. He's done so much. The first year he cooked burgers for the firemen. The pickleball court he helped at the, softball court, or not softball court, softball field, putting up the, dugout for us and helped plant trees. So he gets that. And then his helper, Jeff Brantz, hasn't done everything, but almost everything. So much. Yeah. And then the next two that I want to give are for couples. And the first one's for Jeff and Cindy Anderson. And on their own, they decided that they should take care of the park on the main street where, is it Osberger's? Is that how to have all that? So they did that this summer so Osberger's could spend time doing other stuff. And then the last one that I want to recognize is Janice and Phyllis Hopkinson for being such good ambassadors down at the swimming pool. I think they were a perfect choice to be down there. They're so personable. I think they got a lot of people behind the swimming pool, and I really appreciate that, even though I didn't think they do. So thank you, people. And I know other people contribute all the time too. So thank you very much. And I'm not done. Paula, I want to thank you for so many things that you have done for the city. You wrote that grant to get playground equipment down at the park. And I think that helped turn around the city to do improvements. You kept City Hall open probably for 5 months this summer when we didn't have a city clerk. You were up here every day, and I appreciate it. We haven't always agreed, and we never will.
Right.
I believe that people should be given chances to do stuff. I'm not a control freak, and I feel like you are. And that's fine. That's what makes you you. I think sometimes you've thrown me under the bus. Oh, and by the way, I want to stop here. When we had the special meeting 3 months ago, and we didn't have the owl, you told me that I had an attitude and that you felt that I berated you in front of the owl. The attitude, yeah, I do have an attitude. We all have an attitude. It may not be the attitude you want me to have, but it's my attitude. But the berating you in front of the owl did bother me. So I went to several people in town and asked them to be honest with me. They either come to the meetings or they watch it. And I said, do I berate Paula? And they said pretty much the same thing. They said, you never smile, you're always serious.
Me?
No, me. They say, you don't sugarcoat it, you just say what you say, and then you shut up. Do you berate Paula? No, you do not berate her. She may not like the way you present stuff, but you do not berate her. So, sorry, I don't think I berate you.
And you know what's funny about that? When I said what I said to you, it wasn't on the owl. There was nobody else but the council in the room at the time.
Right.
That was grace. That is showing grace so that it didn't go up.
Oh, thank you for having grace for me. Well, I'm done.
Well, thanks, Maggie. I don't know if Nate turned in a report, but you got anything to say, Nate?
No.
Well, I appreciate what you're doing. I've been with you on 2 or 3 projects. The library, we got a report. You got it? Oh.
Yeah, right here.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay. Yeah, the library now has a new AED defibrillator. I don't know if people knew this, but it was purchased through the Green County Library Association. That's a funding stream that comes directly from supervisors to all the 6 libraries together. So they always come to projects. And so we actually had training the library staff University in Jefferson from Michelle Nixon, who I years and wasn't completely sure who or what she did, but she's head of the Green County Ambulance and very impressively did great training. So it was good. Shane, and you've never done it. It's a lifeguard in the 1970s. We did have some sort of CPR training at one point. That was a long time. So when you look to a small town, you kind of look at something like an AED and think that this is a good opportunity. So that went really well. Very productive meeting on November 28th with Mary and the Central District Consultant from State Library of Iowa. So she has Central Iowa, ranging from the big Des Moines Public Library, very lavish with lots of money going into them, suburban community libraries like a Johnston and Milwaukee and an Ankeny, and the littler, some of the smallest libraries around Fox, some of the Brady. So she's very helpful. She's a very organized lady. She left and sent back a 2-page report discussion, but we talked predominantly about endorsement, which at the Grand Junction Library reached the top level of endorsement, which is tier 3, and we got our accreditation for that is accreditation. But we're at tier 3. We've met the standards after 3 years to maintain tier 3. That was done in February of this year. So we're good all the way through February 26th, but there's still many standards of State Library of Iowa we have to maintain. So in our discussion, she stressed to me, I need to work with my board of trustees that we're constantly having board training at all these meetings. So we're going to set aside 10 minutes for board training, information at each meeting so that we can maintain these standards. Basically, these standards break down into 8 key operating areas.
And just to clear the air, Ellen,
The higher the tier, the more state reimbursement the library, the funding you get. So that's why it's really nice that they keep these.
When I was in Jamaica, they were tier 0 when we started. I got all these standards checked off. But the final standard was my actually getting the endorsement training. They used to call it certification. It used to be I had to go off somewhere for a day-long, 2 days training. Then they switched it on. They started switching online at the end of 2019 when I started. And the rest of the whole year was COVID. I had a lot of free time. I could have done a lot of online training. They didn't have it available. So when I put this application in February 2023, I did not complete that standard. They give me a pass because it wasn't available when we started, but no, technically, I did have 2 years to do that. But after that first year and started, kind of trained myself, but you don't want to take that attitude because there's a lot of stuff about in that training. So through the training, so now I can just jump in and finish my training for endorsement and get it knocked out. And the final thing is, we're going to go start with the Kids Zone. We kind of talked on that last month. Every Monday, starting in January on the 8th, and then there's one Monday of the month. This is when kids get out of school early for personal development days, they're called Green County Schools, or PD. Kids get out early. I think they basically are able to start coming right up 2:30. So it's 2:30 to 5. We'll have some activities, but you got kids in early, you got kids young adult, you've got youth. There's one different age categories. I'm seeing mostly about 7 to 11 minutes so far. I haven't seen a lot. Goal of this to generate more interest among the youth in the community and make them understand there is a library, it's available for them. It's going to be one thing, and having activities. And then there's that one Monday of each month that PD is for a full day or it's a school vacation day. That we'll have to call that Kids Zone Ultimate. We're going to have a little bit more activities because they're not like locked in at 2:30 till 5. They can come well throughout the day. So that's where we're headed. So things are going great.
Good.
Well, I'll tell you, the last month or so, I visited the library a couple of times.
Wednesdays.
I thought it was kind of neat that, yeah, it's on Wednesday. He's got a group of women that come in there and have a gab session. I thought it was kind of neat to just go in there and have a little room.
They get it all taken care of. They got coffee, they got food. They do check out books out. Readers, so.
Not still right.
Wednesday's also birthday, as Laura knows, that's a big deal.
So I thought it was kind of neat. They did that, I think they got one day a week.
It's a place to go. We don't have a senior center in the community, but, you know, the library's there.
It take me to talk to the
He's busy though. The phone's ringing, your mayor is engaged.
Thank you, Alan, for everything you're doing. Appreciate it.
Jason, you got anything?
The 10 stations and the survey.
Same thing.
Okay.
Make a motion on the adjourned.
Back.